Welcome everyone. Today I'll go ahead and talk about how the API allowed our campus to create custom reports and alleviated some of the challenges that we had. I'll start off with a little bit of history and a little bit about ourselves. We're a fairly new school. We have a small amount of students in comparison, but we're fairly new. We originated as a clinical branch from our main campus over at Lubbock, and we're considered what we call an integrated curriculum. Kind of just to give a little bit of background what that means that our students are automatically exposed to clinical experiences throughout their 4 years of matriculating here with us. In a traditional school, they usually start off with the basic sciences for the first 2 years. So with that in mind, our learning management system has to be somewhat tailored to meet our needs. A little bit of background, our first class matriculated back in July 2009. We currently have approximately about 400 students rotating here with us. And last year we had around 55 formatives and 11 summative exams using ExamSoft. I want to kind of mention how we're structured here for our academic technology team. We have a senior director, an associate director, 4 analysts, 3 database administrators, and 10 software development developers that are associated or are actually key to our medical education here. 1 lead analyst and 1 senior analyst, as well as 1 software developer, is solely dedicated to the assessment portion of it. A little bit of background on our testing environment. We here currently have 2 testing laboratories. They're used for exam testing only. They're not used for classroom. They're not used for anything else other than just taking exams. Our systems, we have 115 computer systems that are available to our students, and with very limited software installations. We do use our institutionally approved browsers and operating systems, which is Windows 7 and Internet Explorer 9. And we do have limited software such as Adobe Acrobat and some MS Office products such as Word. We don't use Outlook, given that the fact that we don't allow email to be going through our system there. Each lab has a printed how-to guide that is available to our students, just in case they need instructions how to upload or connect to ExamSoft and SoftTest. We do encourage to have 2 proctors and 2 analysts available every time that there's an exam. In case there's technical or issues, we have 2 analysts available. There are we also have 2 exam coordinators that are solely responsible for all assessment information, from the very beginning of acquiring the item questions from faculty, all the way down to sending the reports to our faculty and deans, as well as our students. So our exam delivery system history. A little bit of history of how we moved on into towards ExamSoft. We acquired our curriculum management system, ELIOS version 1, from our friends over at the University of California at San Francisco back in 2006. The reason we chose this was due to our integrated curriculum. It seems that by acquiring their software code, we were able to manage and manipulate it to our needs here. During the WebCT times where we had to upgrade to Blackboard back in 2013, I know that WebCT was coming out of into end of life, so we had a choice to make. So we moved on into Blackboard with also using the Respondus Lockdown browser as their integrity-based solution, just in case to protect our exams and the integrity of our students. One thing that we did realize is that both Blackboard and Respondus didn't offer was a secure review. So one of the things that we asked our development team here was to create an in-house application that would allow our students to securely view the review. Just a little bit of background on how that was created was we had a PowerPoint presentation created by our coordinators that was sent to us in our technical team. They then converted it using Adobe Flash into and embedding it into a browser that had JavaScript that would disable keyboard keys such as print, screen, and copying, so the sort. I just want to kind of show a little bit, and this is just a summation of the process involved. The process was a very long process to start from the very beginning of an exam, taking the questions, moving them on to certain systems, different departments, and all the way through our reporting portion of it. But in summary, we have our in-house application that we created to generate and create items or questions into this item bank. We called it an assessment system application that was tied here to our curriculum management database. That system in itself, that was also in-house, would generate a file, a text file, that then would be uploaded into Respondus. Respondus then would integrate with Blackboard and deliver the exams, a secured exam, using the lockdown browser inside Blackboard. After our students would take the exam in Blackboard, then information technology or IT department would retrieve a comma-separated value file from Blackboard and upload it into our database, our curriculum management database. Then at that point in turn, we used another in-house application called Assessment Reporting Module that would allow our coordinators to generate the specific reports. So this is just a quick workflow of what entailed for us to be able to deliver all of our reports from the beginning to end in all the different departments. If you notice, there's 8 sections, there's 8 systems that were affected in 4 different areas, coming from IT, students, coordinators, and faculty. Just by looking at this, we can tell it's a very lengthy and tedious process. So some of the historical challenges as we were moving and using the Blackboard Respondus and some manual processes with in-house applications, these are some challenges that we faced. And this is just a couple. There was plenty more. This is just to kind of show a quick sample. Given that we had an in-house assessment application, there was a lot of requests to fix certain areas or enhancements, or just like any other software out there, minor bugs that we have to constantly be maintaining. The other application was a reporting module for assessment, and another product that we use for reporting named Azenda. There were some issues with the Blackboard results. We would upload the information, and sometimes we would have hiccups or problems. It was slightly problematic. As we transition into Blackboard using Respondus, we've also noticed that the systems at random, we couldn't tell why, it would freeze prior to logging into exam due to the lockdown browser. Some other areas also was Blackboard. Given the fact that we were using Internet Explorer 9, it wouldn't, as an institutional recommendation, it wouldn't show or display the exam appropriately. A perfect example would be our text wouldn't wrap. It would just scroll all the way through. Some of our faculty were questioning our item analysis report that would come from Blackboard using the upper-lower quartile. Blackboard uses a Pearson correlation coefficient way of reporting, and our faculty were using something separately. Manual efforts for reports were also part of the challenge, and not having a secure review that required an in-house solution was tedious. Just to kind of give a little bit of background there, we would have our coordinators generate an exam, pull the item questions from that exam into a PowerPoint presentation. That PowerPoint presentation would then be sent to our IT team that would then convert it into a web video and place it out there for our students to view. It was a manual process in place. So at that moment, we realized, okay, we have to have a solution. We have to bring a lot of our concerns and meet with stakeholders. We had student complaints, we had faculty complaints, and we we brought in the stakeholders and a couple of IT personnel into a meeting and to discuss what needs to be done. This is just a list of some of our members. It went all the way from our Associate Dean of Medical Education, our Director of Assessment and Evaluation, our analysts, our exam coordinators, software developers. So we try to encompass every area that would be affected. In conversations, we stated, okay, we're going to move away from our current system into something new. These are some of the requirements for a new solution, which at the moment, just looking at it, it posed to seem to be quite a challenge and feat for us to move towards. Going down the list, must be able to tie images to questions. Images must be centralized as part of our item bank. Students can receive email feedback with missed item objectives. Questions review available after the exam. Faculty receive performance feedback per question. Keywords for reporting purposes via email. Itemized statistical analysis, tracking, and reporting per student. Of course, a graphical statistical report available, and something that would integrate with our curriculum management system. Right off the bat, third-party software, it's almost, I don't want to say so much impossible, but very hard to get a proprietary company or proprietary software to allow us to enter their servers, their database, and retrieve that information. From looking at this, we did find one software company, that ExamSoft, that actually was able to meet our needs, and it was the closest that we can do to alleviate some of these concerns. So after researching a couple of exam software out there, ExamSoft seemed to be on top, and we had a conversation with stakeholders and our vendor, and this is more or less the proposed timeline that we had requested. We started back in March, and from March to May for the pilot period. We asked for procurement from May to June, implementation and testing 5 months, and training about 2 months, in hopes that we would roll out and go live by January 2015. Pardon me. This is just a workflow as we moved on into a project phase, to kind of show that all the areas affected, faculty, exam coordinators, information technology, developers, all the way to our network and security team. And the implementation phase shows different areas and sessions that we had to go through. After the pilot phase, we went ahead and sent off a proposal and summary of what our encounters or what our findings were. We met with our stakeholders once again, and we showed what our findings came to be. And part of that, we also set off a student survey. We wanted to make sure that our students were satisfied with this new system that we were piloting. And this is an example of a survey that we sent off. It seems that most students were in favor. 77% had agreed or somewhat were satisfied with the new system and its functionality. We also presented, on top of their survey, or a student survey, we also presented findings and concerns that we experienced while using our pilot. These are some of the concerns that we expressed and as a team and as a group. Some of them were the current system, the student assessment application that we had in-house. ExamSoft obviously would replace the entry of questions, so that was a concern. ELIOS, which is our curriculum management system, ties our objectives and keywords, and the concern was, how are we going to do that with this new system? Responders Lockdown Browser was another one. We had paid licenses for the Responders Lockdown Browser. Our faculty were very comfortable with Blackboard item analysis report at this time, and that would change to a different report. RMA, which is our in-house reporting module, would send out emails to faculty as per their discipline. And we weren't sure if this new system would do the same. We had an exam review that was already in-house, and we had a process in place, even though it was tedious. We were just concerned how this new review would show. And we also have part of our reporting module, we were able to send missed objectives on items that our students missed via email. And that was something that our students really wished to see. And also, we have an in-house portfolio system also that would generate the student grades as we pull that information into our database, and also offer our students an item analysis per discipline per student. So some of the lessons learned as we went through our pilot phase with ExamSoft. One thing that we showed was ExamSoft, the report, some of the concerns were the question ID was not showing in the question, which we easily alleviated that by titling our question with the in-house ID that we had, or our question ID that we had. That way we were able to tie that information. At the moment, we realized that there was no centralized image repository. Each question contained its own image. So if we wanted to have just like we have our item data bank, we wanted to have our image bank as well. One of the things that was alleviated later on was the requirement of using Firefox as our browser, given the fact that institutionally we were permitted to use Internet Explorer. The good thing is that our security team, our IT security team, allowed us to approve the use of Firefox for our administrators. Another one was ExamSoft item analysis report didn't show images, which was to some faculty they found it to be important. And one of the biggest questions was, how do we tie our objectives to our items or questions? One example was we're thinking of using the categories portion of ExamSoft. The only problem or challenge that we've noticed was that it only allowed a certain amount of words, and our objectives are pretty long. So that was one of the challenges we were facing. So this is a solution that we were presenting. Question is, how do we ask a third-party vendor access to their database server in order to continue delivering custom reports? What we proposed was to use a web service application programming interface that would allow retrieval of assessment data from ExamSoft. And by thinking outside the box, our peers over at ExamSoft were grateful and gracious and kind enough to take this challenge, and they were willing to work with us in this endeavor. After several meetings with our development team and their development team, they were able to produce an excellent solution. This is just a side note, and just in case if there's anyone out there asking, okay, well, what exactly is a web service API? I won't get so technical and turn this into a programming webinar, but just in a nutshell, it's just data that can be packaged and unpackaged, delivered unpackaged to the client via the internet. So consider it like two software systems talking, shaking hands and sending information from one end to the other. This is more or less an example at the bottom. I have an example of how the information from ExamSoft is being pulled in and into our database. So given the fact that we were able to parse that data automatically and enter it into our database, that gave us the opportunity to tie it into our curriculum management data. So at that point, we had to construct our exams in ExamSoft to match our curriculum. So we had to set them up exactly how our curriculum was set up. In order for us to be able to tie that information together, we used the way our school in the curriculum is designed by year, depending on course. Each course has a unit that is tied to a clinical presentation, moved into an event or sessions, and each session has its unique objectives that are tied to item questions. One thing I do want to point out in this slide is the use of our objective IDs instead of using the whole word. So what we did, given the fact that they were allowing us to bring information in just by inputting as a category the objective ID, we were able to bring it into our database and identify the verbiage or the whole objective. And this section is information. Once the information was inside our database, we were able to integrate our e-portfolio with our curriculum management systems database. And that allows us to send or give our student grades directly into their e-portfolio, and also our item analysis by discipline and per exam per student, and as well as sending our faculty item analysis by their own personal discipline that they taught. This is just a quick example of what our students' e-portfolio item analysis by discipline per exam looks like. So each student, we're able to automatically send this information out to our students' e-portfolio that breaks down each exam. If you notice down at the bottom, it's broken by discipline, anatomy, and then several exams that pertain to anatomy and the disciplines. So not only does this give the students their average, but it also benchmarks or actually compares them to a class average. And that way it gives them a better understanding how they're doing. Images are important. So ExamSoft, we noticed they have incredible reports. They're amazing. One thing that our faculty was concerned about was the displaying of the images as part of the report. What we had to do is we were able to use the image ID inside of the comment section of the creation of the exams in ExamSoft. And as we pull that XML or that information back into our database, we were able to capture the item ID. So our image bank that we were looking to use resides internally here, and just reconstruct it as part of a report that was similar to what our faculty was looking for, as well as what ExamSoft offers. These are just two different examples of in this image of what we were able to produce. Okay, so what else can we do with this interface? Given the fact that all this information now resides in our database, we were able to create a small application or part of that reporting module that we have in-house. And we were able to continue sending our students their items, their missed item objectives. That way, after every formative, students wanted to take advantage of where they missed, they were able to receive a personalized email stating them, "Dear student, this is where you missed some of your items," as well as the email our faculty their questions, depending on their discipline that they teach. And so with this type of technology, just for bringing in the information in from our third-party vendor and bringing it into our in-house database, the possibilities are endless. We can, in the future, we can have a dashboard that automatically shows students how well they're doing, or even faculty how they're teaching or their questions are doing as part of an assessment. We can easily access this for accreditation report or integrate it with the data warehouse instead of using the old challenges that we used to have of pulling every information into a comma delimited file and pushing it manually into our database. This gives us more of an automated process of doing so. And with that, Stephanie, I'll answer any questions.
Great. Thank you so much for your presentation, Jose. We are going to go ahead and open up the forum for questions now. If you would like to pose a question about the presentation or this process to Jose, now would be the time to go ahead and type them into the questions area of the GoToWebinar control panel, which should be on the right-hand side of your screen. You go ahead and type them in. We will read them out and give him an opportunity to respond. We already have a couple in here, Jose, so I'm going to go ahead and jump in if that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Awesome. So the first one that I have is, did you survey faculty on system satisfaction as well as the students?
System satisfaction such as ExamSoft, faculty, we did not. We had on our, only the students on the surveys. We had the stakeholders meeting, and some of them were considered faculty, some were deans, and they basically represented, we had directors that represented the first and second years, which are the ones that we use our ExamSoft system for. So they were representing their faculty in terms of this new system.
Great. The next question we have is, what advice do you have for a program wanting to begin this conversation or process ourselves?
Definitely, I would definitely advise creating a process in place, just like the one we showed here in the web slides. What I would definitely do is a lot of research, and I would, as always, start off with your client, meaning your faculty or the end users, as well as your students. And I would find out exactly what exactly are they looking for. And as mentioned, we were posed with the challenge because they wanted emails directly, personalized emails to our students and faculty. Not many schools may want that, but on our end, our school found that to be necessary and required. So what I would start off with is definitely find out exactly what the end user wishes to see or have, and then move on to researching where you other areas or different products, and take it from there. I do have to admit, ExamSoft was very lenient, and it was convenient for us, for them to work with us and deliver what we needed. So that's a recommendation on my part.
Great. Next question is, did your web services API push data to the ExamSoft server? Did it retrieve data only, or both?
No, it was only retrieval. We didn't wish to push any data towards ExamSoft, and we respect that. We understand that our system shouldn't be pushing into their servers. Most of the information that we needed resides on our database servers. So all we required was to bring that information in order for us to reconstruct it here.
Okay, next question is, I have a question about your category structure. Who decided on the structure, and what was that setup process like?
Good. That took a while, I have to admit, but we brought in the the subject matter experts, the personnel, which are coordinators and curriculum assessment directors, and asked for their advice on how the curriculum is being delivered. The way we set up our category is we had to match the way we teach our events or sessions, how we teach our courses here. And if you wish, I could probably go back to that section and kind of show a bit.